learned a lot, and I followed my passion.
It's Principles of Passion.
I have a dream.
With hosts Chris Thomas and Mickey Grace.
It's how we really envision a world where all youth are inspired to find, define, and follow their passion.
This idea that we're going to be able to bring together so many creative thinkers, so many young people, and so many industry leaders.
In order to follow your dreams,
I have a dream today.
You have to put your passion first.
Sitting down with Chris and Mickey this week is Daryl Satcher, creator of A Leading Man. Daryl empowers and enlightens young people, helping them create and cultivate a positive lifestyle. And LeVar Horde, owner of Beeline Chicago in the Fulton Market District. The Beeline dates back to 1971, and let me tell you, they're seeing a major rebirth. This is Principles of Passion. Let's get it, y'all.
What up, y'all? What up? How y'all doing?
Hey, hey, we're excited for what episode 9.
Man, my man Daryl just had that workout. Was like, yo, let me get this yoga and that wellness. Appreciate you.
Hey, what yoga do you practice?
Well, it's Vinyasa Flow. I got my training last summer at Core Power Yoga in Oak Park, and I created my own style. So that was just well, can I cuss on here?
Go ahead.
Whatever you want, bro.
Everybody appreciate a little cussing.
Right, a little bit. Frozen up.
So it's called, I said it's called Grown Ass Man Yoga.
Grown
so
ass
I teach
man.
that on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Awesome.
So we build on topic of the week, and the topic was growth and progression, and then we flow. We do a yoga flow.
Are you doing it online now because COVID?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a couple of classes in the park too. So I teach in Stevenson Park and Oak Park on Fridays at 6 a.m. That's my rhythmic meditation class, which is great class too. Great flow, great way to start your Friday. Then I teach with the lovely Batia Walker on Sundays at 10, and we go to different parks. Our whole thing is it's a family. So we encourage you to bring your kids out, everything, bring the family out. But our whole thing is we want to bring yoga to places where you don't expect to see it, with people that you don't expect to see doing it.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get you up here and show a little bit of this. So here's some pictures, y'all. I mean, he does it. It's literally Stevenson is one of the places he does it across the street from us at Your Passion First in my home. Does a great job Friday mornings. I will make sure that I go in the morning. I promise you. That is a promise. Last week, I was like, yo, I'm going to try and get over there. But this week, tomorrow, I promise you, I will be there. Doing some great things, man. I appreciate the family flow and just adding a unique twist, to the yoga. So I'll put this, I'll put your website in the chat, man. And just to touch on today's episode, the reason why I wanted to bring Daryl on and me and Mickey wanted to bring him on. And Lord may be coming back on. I don't know. We will see, y'all. He's busy, man. His space over there has just been dealing with some things. And we could talk about that too as we talk about wellness and creativity, though. And it's a tough time in the world because, there's a lot going on, a lot of unknowns. But just like when you're creating, there's a lot of unknowns. There's no nice, neat package for creation, right? Because that's innovation. And there's always going to be something new. And so you really have to dig in and find out, like, what's your wellness within that creation of something new, right? What is your support system? What is your ideology and your thought process as you're creating things that, guess what? First go around, everybody may not be like, yes, because it's something new that ain't never been done. So creation and innovation and wellness are, just a topic of all of us on this call. So I want to welcome co-host Mickey Grace. What's going on, Mickey?
Mickey muted, Mickey.
There you go.
I was on mute.
There you go. You good? Technology.
Yeah. I said, I'm just chilling today, no complaints. I was actually just text messaging with a friend before we got on, and I was saying like, I ain't sick, I ain't homeless. I don't have no complaints at this point. So doing good today. Just very excited to have Daryl on and talk a little bit about, the work that he's doing in wellness and how those things intersect with creativity, especially as I'm taking my own creative journey and working with a lot of young people who are taking creative journeys in their own right. So very excited today.
Absolutely. Daryl, the man of the hour. Thank you, man.
Yes.
I'm just appreciative, especially just rolling off of,
Right.
I'm sure somewhat strenuous yoga session and just, getting it in any way you can, man. So I appreciate that. So just to give y'all a little bit more detail, Daryl's created a leading man to enlighten and empower young people. And he's also a director of the film In Their Head. So what a leading man does is collaborates with different clients to create and cultivate positive, healthy, and wellness lifestyles. And what he does is uses yoga, meditation, vision, and energy work, as well as creative writing workshops, wellness retreats, theater, art therapy, and much more in that healing process, so that we could really, as people start to find out what our oneness is and how we bring that to the world. So again, Daryl, I appreciate you coming on. Anything that's just been weighing on your mind, man, that, I don't know, anything you want to get off, anything you want to say. We got a lot of questions, a lot of things, we would love to ask you, but we'd love to just be able to, clear anything you may have going on as well,
Yeah, well, first of all, yoga is not really strenuous. It teaches you how to, be uncomfortable in some of these poses, but be able to find your comfort in the uncomfort. So, you can tell I'm really relaxed now because, I just taught it. And you have to be more present and teach it than to practice it. And just a little correction, because it's just the way you read it, but no worries. We enlighten and empower young people to become the director of the film in their head. And so it's what's on my head right now is I'm really into connecting with original thinkers, because there's, we're not out, but you watch these videos of, these Karen videos and the other things happening. It sounds like people are just, quoting something they heard on the news or on social media. So I'm really like, what about people who are truly original thinkers and going within and finding, because this is a great opportunity to do this. The other thing I think about.
My name is Daryl Satcher, and I am launching a brand new.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna put on a leading man, or I'm sorry, film In Your Head, just so the audience can get an idea of it.
That's a course, by the way. That's a course.
And it's the 2 minute short of it. You know what? We won't put it on, man. It's going to slow down. I thought I would be able to put some of these on during the show in real time. I think it's going to probably slow down and lag too much.
No worries.
But no, man, again, I appreciate you and the work that you're doing to bring a sense of clarity, right? Like you always say, a flow state, right? To people's way of life and the way that they're living and thinking. And I appreciate the correction of even strenuous, of that word strenuous, because that can come off just feeling like versus like really being able to be in one and live in those challenges and feel good through that. So again, much appreciation, man.
Yeah.
Hey, dear.
Yes.
I do want to give you the opportunity to finish, because I know you were talking a little bit about original thinkers and those people being really important to the time that we're in. Mm-hmm. And then once you finish your thought, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the conversation, because I got some things just boiling outside of the questions that we already have prepared. So please finish.
I'm not exactly not sure where I was going, but I'm sure.
Original thinkers, we need to be out here during the uncertain time. Karens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important. We have to know what's going on in the world, but remember, anytime you're watching something where people are telling you what's going on in the world, it's from their perspective. So we have to be mindful of that. It's from their perspective. And it's good to turn that stuff off more often than usual, I think, and tune in to your true higher self. So
Yeah. Yeah.
important,
Thank
right?
you for
No
that.
problem.
Yeah, so I think, one thing I want to say, just Chris and Daryl, is I think, Daryl, you jumped on here with an energy that really calmed me. So I say thank you for that, for sharing that
No
energy
problem.
with us today. And then, just to get our conversation kicked off, something you said when you jumped on really stuck out to me, and I think it relates to our topic tonight in the context in which Chris and I and you as well both serve. Is you mentioned that like doing yoga is about being in this uncomfortable position and becoming comfortable with being in this uncomfortable position. And a lot of young artists, a lot of artists, creatives on the come up, right? We grinding right now. And
Mm-hmm.
man, it's uncomfortable. It's hard. It's challenging. And we've dreamed of the comfort for so long, right? We've dreamed of the comfort for so long that the present feels like a huge struggle and a huge hardship. So can you talk a little bit about like the yoga practice and what does it take mentally and physically for someone to settle into the uncomfortability of the practice?
Good question. I think it takes just being able to show up. Showing up is half of it. So when I came back to yoga, I was 275, and it was very uncomfortable. But the good thing for me is I do have a master's in theater, so I learned how to breathe in school. So that really helped. And it was very uncomfortable at times. And it took me a month to realize that people weren't all looking at me, wondering what this weirdo was doing. But one thing I noticed, and regardless of how uncomfortable some of the poses felt after class, it's like my nerves slowed down, and I found there's a serenity in me and a relaxed state in me, and I was like, you know what, I really like the way I feel
Mm,
afterwards. So it wasn't that while I was doing it, I loved it from the beginning. It was like how I feel afterwards. Like this is better than any drug, that I can find. It So, I just continued to go, and the more I started to like it more. But it's such a metaphor for artists and for where we are right now. As people, we're in a very uncomfortable position. We live, in my opinion, one of the greatest summer cities in the world. And we go through these tough winters, and these summers are amazing. And usually in Chicago, it's 4 to 5 festivals every weekend, and there's something to do over here. And I miss live performances. I miss me kicking it in somebody's backyard. I miss dancing to house music with a group of people. There's so many different things that we miss that we're not getting right now. And if we focus on that, that can drive us crazy. It
mm,
most definitely can. But there's certain things that we can do now, and we can look at some of the positive things that are coming out of this. And some of the positive things are artists being able to create some things. And I think sometimes we need to learn to understand and learn how to enjoy the journey. And that when you run into something that it may be a struggle or a challenge in which you call a grind, that's an opportunity to grow. you
yeah.
know. So I don't even like using it. I don't grind or struggle anymore. And I work very hard, but I don't grind or struggle. So getting into the flow state and what that is, and I have a definition for that. This is my own definition. So it's a 2-3-parter. So it's first becoming one with the Most High, but it's being fully immersed in an activity while in a state of nirvana. So you're
Mhm.
immersed in this activity, but you're in a state of tranquility. So when you find a way to find, especially as creative people, when we can find that flow, man, you start bringing up some stuff. You'll be like, if we flowing and connecting and in tune, and you're like, I don't even know where that line came from that I just wrote, but
Right.
that's special. That's amazing. So that's the exciting part about it, and that's one of the reasons I love yoga, because it's a flow, and most of my classes are flow. By the way, Chris, you're in for a treat. The class tomorrow is going to be for those people who love to flow. I'll just say that. And then it's just a metaphor for life to continue to flow. So it's huge. But
Awesome.
as a people, we're addicted to struggle, and we need to get away from things being a struggle, because when you call it that, it is a struggle. But what if you decided to call something that you used to see as a struggle and say, you know what, I'm going to achieve everything I want in here, and the journey's going to be amazing. We forget about the journey being really the most important part, but I'm going to achieve all these things with comfort, ease, joy, and love. If we were able to say that and put that energy into it every day, it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a struggle.
It changes everything. It
Yeah.
changes everything. You know, I'm reading this book, y'all. It's called I'm reading a book. It's called The Heart of the Buddha's Teaching.
Mm.
And one of the things that it says is that I am writing a book, but I am at rest. I am writing a book and I am at rest. And that was just so profound to me, right? Because for so long I carried this idea that this is supposed to be hard. This is hard. Not even this is supposed to be hard. This is hard. A declaration that this is hard. But when I read that statement, like I am writing a book, but I am and I am at rest, it changed everything for me. It changed everything about how I approach everything. So yeah, definitely I wanna just give some snaps there because I have seen that come to fruition in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I know Daryl talks a lot about that, right? About, that what is that film in your head, right? How do you live at peace, as we go through life, like literally creating your own film, right? That's what we're all doing. So talk a little bit about that, Daryl, in terms of some of the things that you do or have done within the film space, and just kind of your whole ideology around that thought process.
Right. Well, I'm a professional actor and a professional theater artist, where I've done everything from write, produce, direct, act, and even some of the designer positions, to create. Not done as many movies, a couple of shorts here and there. And I've acted in some pretty cool productions. I guess my proudest one is Dark Knight, where I was a cop and I got taken out by the Joker within 10 seconds, which I got a lot of people still clown me about that, especially my oldest daughter. But I was in the credits, and still get paid from that. And what I tell folks is that I was the biggest threat, so I was taken out quickly. And I also tell people, and I'm riding on this, is that my scene was the Oscar scene. So I helped get Heath Ledger an Oscar. So that's what I say. But anyway, that's some of my experience.
I love it.
But just that metaphor is, it's I mean, from your parents to education to social media to news to people in your life, it's a lot of people trying to write your film. And especially I feel like it's melanated people in this country. And I'm writing a book about this too. Just one of the subjects in it is it feels like when we walk out the door, our films have already been written, and you can tell by the reaction of people sometimes of what that feeling. It's a terrible feeling, and sometimes it gets into your head. So it's very important that you take time every day to go within, and there are different ways to do that. There are many different ways to do that. But you can find there are ways to manipulate your emotions. There are ways to quiet that ego voice and get in tune with your really true self. And then I can go into those things for sure. But the main thing is, like, when you start doing that type of work, and you start saying, like, what kind of life do I want to live? Like, forget about the money, forget about finishing a product or project or anything like that. But what would an amazing life look like to me? What would that look like? What would that entail? What would I be doing? Who am I connecting with? You know, so when you start thinking in that sense and start building that, it's huge. And I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. One of the most challenging experiences and one of the strongest opportunities to grow in my life was when I went through a separation and divorce. And it was, again, one of the toughest things I've had to do. We had kids too, so that makes it even tougher. And I'd lost myself in the marriage, and the gift I got from the separation and divorce was I was able to create myself and and and, and provide a rebirth for myself in any way I saw fit. And I made decisions that weren't just about the marriage, but about mainly about me. And one of the conclusions I came to is that I was not good at choosing friends and different things like that. So I created a criteria for the friends that I chose. Now, if I just said I want to surround myself with these types of people, but I didn't do any work, it's not going to happen. So for the criteria I made for the people I wanted to surround myself with, I had to match that criteria before those people came into my life. And so the criteria that I created, I just asked my daughter about this, like, what are the type of people do you want to surround yourself with? So this is the criteria I created for me. People who love me enough to tell me the truth. People who challenge me to be better, and people who live with righteous integrity. And righteous and integrity are very similar, but for some, it's good. I like to put those together. So again, I said these are the kind of people I want to surround myself with. But I knew that I had to turn into a person that loved myself love
Right.
of the truth, love
Yeah.
others, tell myself the truth.
Right.
I challenge myself to be better, challenge others to be better, and live with righteous integrity. Once I started doing that, some people that didn't fit that criteria, without me saying a word, just kind of fell off. And then other people started to come in. Some people, they've been there the whole time. So, but once I did that, it was huge. It was huge, and I've had a really strong circle where a lot of people are like, really questioning humanity, some of the things happening and what they see. Well, I don't see a lot of that stuff because that's not the energy I'm putting out. The energy, in my opinion, is so important to understand the power of energy and that we can create it at any time.
And what you're talking about, it's interesting what you're talking about, because I think what is easy to forget or easy to not acknowledge or confuse, that's a better word, misconstrue.
Right.
The part where you said I needed to turn myself into a person who could tell myself the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the work. And I think sometimes we misconstrue making the list as the work, right? I made the list now. So it's supposed to happen. One thing I have been just meditating on a lot lately and holding in my heart is that manifestation without action is a miracle. Manifestation without action is a miracle, because you mentioned that, like, I had to get up and, like, actually do the things. I had to do the things. So yeah, and I wanted to switch gears a little bit here. I had a question, because I know you're into film, right? And you're talking about be the director of the film in your mind, right? Be the director of the film in your mind. So when you pair that with these original thinkers, and I'll just speak in the context of myself, I am an original thinker. I'm an original thinker. I'm an independent thinker. I have so many films in my mind that when I share them with people, they like, damn, that's a good idea. I never heard that before, blah, blah, blah. But I think the biggest struggle is when you are the thinker and you are not necessarily and you're not necessarily connected to the doers. So, what advice would you give for that?
So you said when you're a thinker, but you're not connected to the doers.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back just a second, because you said something that was interesting. I'm just posing this question as a challenge.
Sure.
So you said manifestation without action is a miracle, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if the action was the miracle?
What if the action is the miracle?
Yeah. So you envision the manifestation you want. That inspires action.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but
No. Yeah, I could see it. Because, right, like, the action could very well be the miracle, because the idea of the manifestation inspires the action.
Exactly. Exactly. It's inspired action. And it's,
Ah,
like manifestation, I think sometimes without action creates aborted dreams, you know. So part of the action though is believing and having the self-worth to believe that you can make this happen. So
right.
like the example of that I gave of these are the criteria for the people I wanted to surround myself with, and matching those criteria, that's really a great lesson in manifestation. I didn't think about it till you said that though, because think about it. What I said was I want these types of people in my life. But to bring these people around me, I had to match that vibration. So manifestation at the end of the day is really matching that vibration. So if you want more abundance in your life, then you have to find abundance within yourself. So
Mhm.
maybe you don't have a lot of money right now, but maybe you have an abundance of ideas that you can branch, work on and create. Maybe you have an abundance of creativity. Maybe you have an abundance of time, you know, maybe you have an abundance of support. So it's not like, so if you want more money, it's not about like, let me just think about money, because sometimes that can push you away from it. But just be on a more an abundance place, and it's like, okay, so I know that I'm trying to get to this certain point where I'm trying to finish this book, for example. So it's not about the finish line. It's really about the journey. And can you enjoy, like when you get a great idea, do you do a little dance to yourself, or, what do you do and how are you reacting? You know, do you believe in writer's block, or have you decided that writer's block does not exist? I mean,
Right.
it's a lot that goes within it. So, but you can still match and get on that vibration of how it will feel to finish this book and get it out. You can still feel that. And once you get on that level with it, that book is going to be done. But that's the work that I didn't used to do. I was like, okay, I got to create something. So I would sit down to create, and it would take myself maybe an hour, 30 minutes to 45 minutes to really find some sort of a flow state, where now it's like, no, the work happens in here first. And then I'm really ready to put that work out. But I don't want to forget about your question. You said, what if you're a thinker, but you're not around doers?
But you speaking some wisdom though, legit. Like you literally for real speaking some wisdom. I just have to pause and honor you for a second. And thank you for doing your work before even getting on here
Mhm.
because you really giving some wisdom right now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. But I think sometimes when you are a person that is a thinker and you want to be a doer and but you're around thinkers, is that what it is? Is that the question? I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes. So my question is like what it when you're a thinker, when you have
Hmm.
it, I honestly feel like in a lot of ways independent thinking, original thinking is a gift to some. It's a
Mm.
gift. And when you have that gift of independent thinking, you have that gift of original thinking, but you're not necessarily connected to the doers that you need to be connected to. What do you do in that sense? Because for me, I'll say this for me being a thinker, um it's almost driving me crazy because you got all of these I have all of these thoughts in mind. I have all of
Hmm.
these ideas in mind, and maybe
Hmm.
I can it's almost like I can, not that I'm not a doer, I just don't have the endurance as much endurance as the doers who need to be doing the shit actually have. Do that make sense what I'm saying?
I understand exactly what you're saying. And my answer to you would be the same answer I gave before. If you're a thinker and you want to be around doers, you
Mm,
have to match the vibration of doers. So you have to do. And I'll say this, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I believe that you have more in you than you realize.
thank
I
you.
really do. And the thing is that when you get discouraged, and we all go through it. Everybody on here is going through where you're like, man, I'm questioning it. How do you stay, keep going? You focus on the why and not the how. I mean, sometimes you look a lot. I'm telling you, in my opinion, the how is really not up to you. The how is up to the universe. The why is where you live. That's your playground. The why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this? Go back to that. And there's several reasons why we want to do the things that we do. But the how is what makes you quit. I'm gonna tell you, the how is what makes you quit. The
Mm,
why is what it is. There's some ideas and things I want to do. There's some things that a lot of people know that a leading man is preparing to make happen. I don't have all the answers to the why. I can promise you that. But I don't have all the answers to the how. But I got a lot. I know why I'm doing it and why it needs to happen, and it just starts to work out. But it's becoming the director of the film in your head is a mind. It's a mind state. It's a mind state. It's a perception, and it's not about having a lot of films in your head about great ideas. When I say that, the metaphor is you are the director of the film in your head. You're also the star of the film. You're also the star of the film. So in my eyes, it's like you're firing your ego voice, which is a loud, chatty voice that most people think is really them. That is constantly reminding you that you're just not good enough, and that
mhm,
you feed that voice by burying your emotions, which become trapped emotions that convince you that you're not good enough because you're not dealing with some of the things in your life. So to you have to deal with stuff and deal with the pain. Like, let's say we're on this call and Chris says something that really pisses me off, and I'm thinking about the next morning, like, I can't believe this dude said that. Right? There's that's a hint to me that he tapped into an insecurity that I have not dealt with, that I have not healed from. So I need to what we don't do, what we should do, and what we don't do, I'll say, is usually we don't deal with it. We just bury it. I can't deal with that. That's too painful. No, you're supposed to deal with that and face that, because a lot of times when you are like, man, I feel discouraged. I don't have an energy. I don't feel like doing this. It's because there's something in your head that you have not come to peace with, and you need to find a way to confront that, face it. It's hard. It can hurt. You'll probably break down from it. But the beauty in breakdowns is they're always followed by breakthroughs.
mhm,
And so you have to face that. And so if I fired my ego voice as the former director of the film in my head, I've hired my true higher self as the director of the film in my head. I'm the star of the film in my head. How am I going to save myself and save my world?
mhm.
So those are some of the ways I look at things.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was
Mm.
some good stuff to chew on for sure. Not even chew on, literally just let it marinate. Let it marinate. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. When we think of creating and setting boundaries or limitations or guidelines, um, how do you know like how much to create? When you're like, hey, I think I could do this, and you just start going. Like, what do you use as your guide to help navigate, so to speak?
It's not always about length or how much,
Right.
but a lot of times when I'm creating something, especially if I'm going to present it like in a spoken word type creative fashion, at this point it's part spoken word, part speech, part performance as an actor. For me, when I write something, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to say that. That's it. That's it. When I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to say it, like, that's it. That's it. Because that's the raw, real deal of it. But it really, it starts with what I call my miracle morning magic. And that's a combination, a collaboration of meditation, um, mantra work, vision work, energy work, visual prayer treatment. It's a lot, and it's a beautiful thing. And sometimes it's just literally standard meditation type of style. I do lay down with my meditation because I don't sleep when I meditate, and I just feel more comfortable that way. Sometimes it can be a nature walk. Sometimes it's yoga. Sometimes it's all three of those. Sometimes it's mirror work. It's a lot that goes into it. But I just tell you what I'm doing when I meditate. When I meditate, I don't clear my mind. I let my mind run. I let the ego run his mouth. Just what are you thinking about? What you just let it go. So my whole thing is like, let go, let go. Let go of expectations, let go of judgment, let go of trying to clear my mind. Just let go and connect with my breath. And once I can tell, that, and it gets easier the more you do it, by the way. Once my ego voices ran its mouth and ran out, I start to connect with my true higher self. And I start to find clarity, and ideas start to come. That is the inspired action that we talked about. I call it divine inspired action. Those ideas start to come. I feel like there's antennas on our heads, and we're connected to, I don't know if it's the most high, infinite possibilities, which is what I'm starting to call God, the ancestors. I don't know who it is or what we're connected to, but we're connected, and those where ideas come from a lot of times. And when we act on all those ideas, we start finding our true journey, and we just fall into place. We just like, how did that happen? How did we get here and there? And the best example I can think of for that now is the family flow class that we do on Sundays. It was a situation where I was teaching yoga on Facebook Live. It was first me teaching myself, and then I was like, well, I'm getting something out of this. Maybe other people can get something out of it too. I'm teaching on Facebook Live for a little bit, and I decided, I want to teach a class in the park. I'm tired of just being in the house teaching. I mean, I'm sure we can do some social distancing and teach in the park. And so I put it out there. My idea was to invite some yoga students, some yoga teachers, big huge circle in Taylor Park and Oak Park, and I'm in the middle teaching, and I teach a sequence, and then I point to Chris. Let's say Chris is a yoga teacher, and he comes into the middle. I go back into the circle. He teaches a sequence. That was my idea. So I had one yoga teacher respond, and it was Bhatia. And we had met at Core Power Yoga in South Loop one time. She stayed out west. We stayed in touch. She was like, I'm coming. So I said, hey, Bhatia, you want to finish class? Because the whole idea was for yoga teachers to teach together. And I was like, you want to finish class? And she was like, yeah, I'll finish. And so she did. And Bhatia's mother was in the class. She comes like to all our classes with her. And afterwards, her mother walked up to us and said, y'all don't know what y'all just did. And she pointed at me and said, I see you calling up Egypt. And she said, where else can you find a melanated man and a melanated woman teaching yoga together, the yin and the yang? And she, in a very nurturing, motherly, in tuned, elderly way, she challenged us and gave us a mission that we have to continue doing this. So the next week we split the class in half, and we continued to teach. And one of the reasons I became a yoga teacher is because I wanted to introduce this healing, moving meditation to my people. That was a big reason. The youth, yes, for sure, but my people. And that second class we had, nine out of 10 folks were our people, and it's mostly our people. But it's not really about that. I mean, that's part of it, and we know we need it. But it became a situation where my boy, he's newly married. He's got 3 sons that came, with the marriage. He's a stepfather. He's got 2 beautiful older daughters. He starts bringing the boys. We got a 3-year-old doing yoga. It's an amazing thing that's happening with this, and it's growing into this natural community. Now we have my boy Patrick, who gives, he not only gives health tips, he'll bring in some food, because he's found out how to find the food that we used to eat before slavery and all that kind of stuff. He goes to Mexican grocery stores. I'm giving y'all give y'all something on this. He goes to Mexican grocery stores. He finds different plants. He just uses Google to research them. He'll bring that stuff out, a tea or soursop plant, and he'll let us taste it, and says, take this or buy this and try it on an empty stomach and see how you feel. Based on vibing with him, I stopped drinking coffee, which I needed to do. Now I do cinnamon sticks and bay leaf with either moringa tea or guarana tea. Either one, we could talk about that and what that is. And the benefits are endless to that. So this thing that started out as just me having this feeling, we'll call it a divine inspired action to teach yoga in the park. I connected with the teacher. Now we've created family flow, which is going to continue to grow. It's continuing to take wings. And that came just kind of falling into place and just listening and acting. Listening when those antennas start to vibrate and I get these great ideas, do I act on them or not? So I ask people, how many dreams have you aborted because you just didn't believe in yourself? And I'm tired of aborting.
How do you choose?
What'd you say?
How do you choose? You know, because you said like, I get this idea. Do I act on
I
it or
mean, it
not?
depends how
How do
really. I'm trying to act on all of them now, but it really depends on how excited it makes me. The more excited it makes me, and the more he keeps coming back, the more I know I need to do it.
Mm.
So I first started to try to meditate when I was in college, and I couldn't do it. I was like, I think I got ADHD. I can't focus. I can't clear my mind. So I would end up coming out of meditation more frustrated than when I came in, because I was so mad at myself during the meditation because I couldn't clear my mind. And so it took me actually listening to, believe it or not, Russell Simmons on Oprah Winfrey Show. That's interesting how they're at each other. And I bought his book, but he talked about it as being a moving meditation. That's where I first got that terminology from. And he talked about meditation. And I saw other people talk about meditation. And the way they talked about it, I was like, oh, I get it. It's not just about clearing your mind. And there are many different styles of meditation. There's some meditations where you're supposed to try to remember everything that comes to your mind. There's many ways to meditate. And once I realized that, I was like, I can make this my own. I can make this mine. Sometimes meditation can literally be looking at the sun coming down, drinking your favorite cocktail or smoking on your favorite whatever. That could be a form of meditation. So once you realize that and get in tune with that, like I'm telling you, when you get into it, you have no idea how many great creative ideas that you have. But again, it's the ones, we're going back to meditation. It was something, even though I felt like I couldn't do it and felt more frustrated while in college, it kept coming back. It kept tapping me on the shoulder. Hey, you should try me again. And I would continue to try off and on. And at one point it was just something to cross off the to-do list. Now it's something that I look forward to, because I know I'm going to come out of it better than I entered. And I just have to be a little patient with myself and kind to myself.
I love all that, man. Especially just the being kind, man. Being kind to yourself and to the people around you. Because there's always going to be things that we don't agree on as people. We hope that we can get to a common understanding. Let me ask you this, man. As you think about like creativity and wellness, we're going through a new phase right now with COVID, and I've been on a lot of calls with District 97 here in Oak Park and the school system, and trying to really rethink education and stuff. How do you feel there's an opportunity right now to rethink creativity and wellness that can benefit or maybe change our education system, or redefine it? Like how can we as people and as community kind of rethink that creativity, that wellness? You know what I mean?
Most definitely. I had to get into some extra light. I'm dark skinned, so I want to make sure y'all can see me. I think we're good now. Let me know. Okay, cool. I think we're good. So great question, man. I think we're in a great time to do a whole lot of make a whole lot of different changes. And I'll say this, it's a good time to take note. We got to be honest with ourselves. It's a lot of bad leadership. I mean, yeah, we understand this at the top, but it's across the board with the politicians, the bad leadership. You're seeing it play out. You're seeing it in institutions where they say, hey, you need to open up. Well, how? I don't know, but you just need to open up, because I make money when you open up. So understand, a lot of time, you always got to follow the money. Capitalist society, we're actually watching capitalism eat itself. If you're not paying, if you don't realize what's happening, we're watching capitalism eat itself. But pay attention to good leadership and bad leadership. There is some good leadership happening. I'll give you an example of one. The National Basketball Association, which gets back started tonight. Good leadership. They planned, they created a bubble for the WNBA as well. They created a bubble and they created a system, and they're working it, and it's working. Now, will they be successful at the end of the season? No, but they have a better opportunity to. And the reason why, when I realized that it was good leadership, I was listening to Chris Paul, the president of the Players Association, and the commissioner speak. And the commissioner said something, Adam Silver. He said, if we decide to shut down, it will be a health decision. It will not be a money decision. And the reason you're seeing a lot of bad leadership is because a lot of leaders are making decisions based off of money and not of health. So they're showing that they don't value their employees. So it's great lessons as leaders that we are here to pay attention to that. So that's first. That's first and foremost, I think. Second of all, yeah, it's tremendous opportunity. I think we have to start thinking about micro type schools, maybe virtual micro schools. Micro schools are situations where maybe it's about 20 kids, and just the community surrounding those 20 kids make a decision that we're going to teach those kids. So maybe on Monday and Wednesday, they're with Uncle Chris, and Uncle Chris is teaching them about technology, or Uncle Chris is doing this or that, and they're with me and they're doing yoga, and another day they're with you and they're writing, so just giving an example of how it can look. I mean, there's ways to do it. And there's, when you talk about like situations like that, that's pretty much homeschooling. And when you talk about homeschooling, the world is your school. Even in a COVID situation, the world can be your school. One of the things my daughter is learning right now is stand-up comedy. It's something she enjoys doing. She battles with depression. It's helping with the depression and some of the other things that she's battling with as well. And she's hilarious. So it's part of her education about finding more confidence, speaking in front of people, being able to story tell, creativity, imagination. If you're bombing on stage, that's problem solving, different types of things. A lot of qualities she's going to learn. Whether she decides to be a stand-up comedian or do something else, she's going to learn a lot of tools. So we definitely have to rethink education from a wellness and art, creative standpoint. And for me, wellness and creativity go hand in hand. The art, creativity, and the arts have always been part of wellness for me. It's always been deeper for me. In wellness, you just have to, this is going to sound harsh, but I believe it to be true. There's some people who, as we see, are dying and are going to die during this situation. Herman Cain passed on today, by the way. I don't know if y'all heard. Herman Cain has passed on. There's some people who are going to be surviving, just holding on, like that old LTD song from my old school people. And then finally, there are going to be some people who are going to be thriving, and they're going to be really healthy and doing great work. And so it's up to us to decide, how what that's going to look like and how that's going to work. But creativity, I think, has to be at the forefront. If you're going to keep people involved, especially in a situation where they're isolated and locked down, creativity has to be the way that we teach. And, putting some wellness within your lesson is always a good thing, just to check in and see, because you never know what people are going through. Not just physical health, but mental health.
Yeah.
It's huge right now. Whether you have serious issues or not, it's huge right now.
Yeah. It's interesting that you talk about like this different model of education, because I've talked to some folks who literally are doing it. They got, it's 5 parents and it's 7, 8, 9, 10 kids in between these 5 parents, and they are going to take turns teaching their kids. And, teaching the kids, they're going to take turns teaching their kids. And it's so interesting to me because this group, the people that are a part of this group, they're all people of color. And in addition to that, they're also all certified as teachers. So, right, they got the institutionalized way of being, but then they also have this more Afrocentric, this more equitable way of doing school. So I do think that it can be an amazing thing. And I think, I talked to another educator today who is interested in that concept, but their worry is like, but I need insurance. I need my insurance. I need, things like that. So that's a whole nother thing. But I did want to jump in here because we had a question from an audience member who said, what do you say to men who think yoga is not masculine enough?
Well, that's one of the reasons I created Grown Ass Man Yoga, which, shameless plug just for a second. It's a jazzy blend smooth hip hop and R&B, calisthenics, like, working out without weights, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, crunches, different types of things like that with the rhythmic vinyasa flow. But we also add accountable brotherhood, where we speak. So that's one of the things I do. But what I'll say is that, do your hips hurt? Do your lower back hurt? Um, are you having some ailments and different things, especially folks are my age? I'm Gen Xer, middle age. I'm sure you got some aches and pains. Yoga can help with those aches and pains. And yoga is a lot of core work. And again, it allows you to flow. And the one thing I will say in this society that we have, one of the reasons I think we're off balance is because we are in a society that doesn't really respect divine feminine energy. And I don't mean like the feminist discussion. I mean divine feminine energy. And when you don't respect divine feminine energy, but respect divine masculine energy, things are naturally going to be off balance. So as men, look, creativity, yoga is definitely feminine energy, but you need that for balance, and there are many ways to teach yoga. You have to understand that. I'm proud that I was able to create different styles. I mean, Chris will tell you, I've changed some of the pose names to African gods and goddesses names. Because that's just what I feel, and I teach it in a certain way where, and other people, I'm not going to just talk about me. Brother Dennis Dixon, he has his yoga church on Facebook. That's another cat to check out. Man's kind of man teaching yoga. And some other people. You can look up Black Men Do Yoga on Instagram. There's a lot of people on there doing poses. But the reason we're such proponents for, if I speak for everybody, is because we know the benefits it's created in us. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Before I started researching and finding out the real origin of this, because I understand they lied to us about everything about history. So I don't listen to them. I go and do my own research at this point. I think you should do health that way too. You can go have a doctor, but then go figure out how to fix it yourself. I'm just telling you. But to come back to it, before I did the research, I could feel it in my melanin that this was ours. And when I felt that, and then I did the research and found out, yes, melanated people did create yoga as well. Started in Africa, like just about everything else. I was like, okay, our people need this. We need to embrace this, and I want to be part of one of the people that introduce it to us, because I know the benefits of it. Being a man, being a man's man, being a man that's gained a little weight in his middle age years, actually a lot of weight, a man that has ailments and different things, and just to see how my lower back is a lot stronger. I don't have the chronic back pains as bad as I used to have. That my hamstring, my thighs a lot stronger, my abs, obviously I've lost weight in my stomach, got more to lose, but I'm strong, stronger equilibrium, wise than I've ever been. My balance and everything is a lot stronger. I had really bad balance, naturally clumsy, so I would injure myself sometimes. Those things don't happen as much anymore. And again, I'm a lot more laid back, which is what I actually prefer to do. And I'll throw this at you. I was driving full time for Lyft, and I would drive during rush hour, morning and evenings, in Chicago, where they drive crazy, and people try to punk you out the way they drive, and you're not gonna punk me out and all this kind of stuff. And I would make an art out of cussing people out. I was real good at it too. And yoga helped to cure me of road rage, where I could be out in the madness in the morning time, and I would find a way to create peace within my car and in my space. So first inside, then in my space. And I'm like, okay, when people come into my car, they're going to hear really smooth, relaxing music. So they may come from the madness, but they're coming into peace. And so somebody's cussing me out, and it's not even connecting with me, because I'm in this space of peace. And you can find that any and everywhere. And so those are some of the benefits, just a few that I've gotten from this moving meditation. That is not
Man,
easy.
Look, y'all, I'm laughing, right? Because Tiffany, that's my
Oh,
sister. Tiffany is my oldest sister, the one who asked that question. And I'm laughing because I remember when we were younger, she used to always say, Mickey, I'm trying to create peace in my room. Don't come in here. Like, she'd be like, I'm trying to create peace in here. Don't come in here. So I'm laughing because it made me think of that. But I do think, it's important, just taking this beyond the artist and also into the industry professional, right? That you mentioned, like, I can be in the madness and find a way to still be at peace. What? Like, like literally, we all legitimately need that, especially in some of these industries. I went from, like, when I was in college, I worked on Capitol Hill, right? I was on Capitol Hill when the church was shot up, right? When the guy went and shot up the church. I was on Capitol Hill when the gay rights bill was passed, right? And when I say, I'm like, it was days, and I think maybe I mentioned this to you, Chris, but it was days when I would have to leave my office and go in the bathroom and cry. And just cry. And it made me think about, like, damn, these people need some peace up here. They need some a state of peace and tranquility up here. So I definitely, and then for artists who are in the entertainment scene, I heard it's real crazy in entertainment industry in that political realm. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for mentioning that.
yeah. And I'll just say to, yogi practitioners and even yoga teachers, because this happens. If you are not able to find your peace, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. And again, this was not an easy thing for me to do, but that's the goal. I mean, that's part of it, and that's why it is a flow. And I teach, most vinyasa teachers teach breath to movement. So every time you inhale, you move. Every time you exhale, you move. I go a step further where it's the music is as big a part of the class as anything. So it's the rhythm tells you when to breathe and the breath tells you when to move. And I found in my own practice, when I'm connected to the rhythm and the breath with my movement, I mean, I found a meditation it's on another level. And it's when you're able to manipulate your emotions every morning and decide on how you want to feel and how you're going to take today. One of the things I say to myself is today, wherever I go, I will create a peaceful, joyful, loving, unique, and fun world. And then I go and create that world. You can actually do that type of work and find that peace. It's you have to be intentional about it. Like if I start slipping on my miracle morning magic, or if I stop taking that energy from the mat or from meditation and bringing it to my life, then I'm going to start slipping, and you're going to see it, and it's going to show in my life. And again, everything's not perfect. I can say I don't really have too many bad days anymore. I have more bad moments than days at this point. But it's a lifestyle change. It's not just yoga. I mean, yoga was really the foundation of my transformation. Yoga is what got me back into the meditation, which really got me into vision work, which is a real big game changer. Energy work and understanding energy and how it works, and being able to read people's energy and to really feel, so it's a good thing. And another one of the, I'll give you another mantra that I say. I see myself as a loving person. I see myself loving and being loved in divine order. The love of God in my heart brings all the right people around me for all the right purposes. And all the wrong people can't come near me because I am enfolded by the love of God. So that one is a great one for me because I'm actively bringing the right people around me. Like for the family flow class, I invite 70 people a week, and that's not including some of the groups I invite. So it's probably closer to 90 to 100 people get invited to this. Now, obviously, we don't have 90 to 100 people out there every Sunday, but I am confident, and I have to remind myself, even if the numbers look small, the people that are here are supposed to be here.
Right.
And trust that.
Right.
And trust that. And again, one person can knock off the energy completely. So you have to be careful. But when I say that mantra pretty much daily, I start to see in these mantras and start to believe it when I say it, you start to see these things play out in life, and you start to realize something that's been all along, that you are a deliberate co-creator of your own reality. So even before you realize that, if you have convinced yourself that you are a loser, or that things end up acting, having all the bad things happen to you, you attract that, and that's who you are. I
Mhm.
made a decision. I'm a love and light being, so I attract love and light. Does it always work? No, not exactly, because I'm not always on point. But that's the work. That's the work. And when you do that inner work, it makes the outer work 100 times easier.
I love it. I love it, man. We are just at time. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you wanna, no, and they don't got to be shameless plugs. You could give me shameful plugs. Anything you want to say? I'll give a plug. I know you and I are working on this wellness retreat.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the month with a leading man, as well as Greater Good Foundation. So excited to get that out by the end of the weekend for everyone. What about you personally? Anything outside of that you got going on you want people to know about? Just anything.
Yeah. So I wrote an article for austintalks.org about a month or so ago called Heal Trauma from Within. And it got a lot of good responses and replies. So the follow-up has been published. I'm going to be sending it out tomorrow. This is going to turn into a book. And we're working out everything, but we will be asking for donations, because we're going to have to find an editor, someone to design the book cover. We're going to self-publish it, but on and on and on. We're going to need some things. So like this would be the first time we're asking our email list. Like one of the things we started the email list, we didn't want to be the ones that were asking them to spend money every day. We wanted to provide them with information and content. And if you're interested in becoming a part of the email list, you can message me in Facebook and we can talk about that, and I can add you to it. And we'll be asking other people as well. But those articles are going to, and I've already started working on it and researching, are going to turn into a book. The book is going to be entitled "The Sixth System is the True Virus, but We are the Vaccine." I'll say that again. The sixth system is the true virus, but we are the vaccine. So that book is coming out, and we're gonna, it's not going to be a regular type of donation. Like you'll be able to be a part of the journey of creating the book. Not that you're going to be writing the book. I'm writing the book, obviously, but you'll be a part of that journey. So it may be there are going to be some things that I'm writing in here I already see they're going to be very tough to deal with. So you'll be able to get an in-depth look of like what that experience was like to write that, or maybe you can help out with some research or lead or something like that. So we're creating that. So that's something that I'm excited about. But I'm just excited about enjoying this journey and not exactly knowing where it's going, but knowing that it's going to be an amazing ride to get there. And I want to end by just inspiring other artists, creators, that this is a great time. This is a great time to be alive. I will say that, and to be creative and enjoy and take advantage of this time to be able to create. I mean, how many times have you said, man, I wish I had time to write that book, or I wish I had time to, I always wanted to do some stand-up comedy. Well, you can do it virtually now. It's not as hard, not as much, right at this second. Or, oh man, I always wanted to design a dress or sew it, whatever. Well, you got some time now. So take advantage of it and stop thinking and living in that space of, oh my God, what else is going to fall? What else terrible is going to happen? And find that space of, okay, what are the positive things that are coming from this experience in time?
Yep. Yep. That's it, brother. That's it. I appreciate it, man. Daryl,
Problem.
been a pleasure. I'm gonna let Mickey close it out. Mickey, go for it. Any closing words?
Yeah, I just want to thank you so much for giving your time and your energy to this conversation today. It's really sitting at a center for me. I think, right before we jumped on, I was having a conversation with a young artist who's talking about how they're working and they also trying to find time for, the artistry.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they get to the artistry, they can barely hold their eyes open because they working their day job all day. And, the good Lord checked me, because my first thought was how I've been watching all these YouTube videos about these record labels, and they are working these babies to the bone. And if you think about it, these young people are committing suicide. They killing themselves. These artists are killing themselves. They're taking their lives.
Not sign a record deal is one of the first things I say. Do not sign a record.
Man, they killing themselves. They taking their life. So, the good Lord checked me and was like, nah, like, yes, I'm glad that you are proclaiming that you are tired and you need a break and you need some time to get your rest, because guess what? Wellness is just as important, if not more important, to add to your creative expression. So just wanted to share that quick story, and just thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today, for coming on, sharing your energy with us today. Really appreciate the conversation, and just wishing you all the best, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you. Had a good time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you always, Mickey. You're always a blessing and a spirit in my week. So thank you. And yo, in order to follow your dreams, y'all, you got to put your passion first. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. Principles of Passion. Holla.
Yep.
Peace.